o'clock
We
on
are
the start
off center
of your Tuesday morning.
John, can you move us over a little bit? I got all this room.
Look a little crazy here.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's April 1st.
Glad you're with us to start this Tuesday. Wow. Here we go. I'm trying to get in here, of course. You know, it never fails that whenever you need the internet, it doesn't work. It's like someone's playing a sick joke on me.
I know, Uncle Ed.
Worst. Anyway, as you start your Tuesday, we should let you know that we do have some news to report here. Some sad news. This is going to be the last month of Second Cup. Yeah. So here we are. We've got about 30 days left, 29 days left of Second Cup, and it was a good run. I know it's a don't miss kind of show, but we are unfortunately done with Second Cup.
I mean, it's a time when everything's changing. We're trying to adjust around, I don't know, everything. And as much fun as we have and we talk about it all the time, we have to let some things go, which really stinks.
April Fools.
Dude.
I can't.
I couldn't even speak when you first started because I was trying not to laugh. No, Kimberly clocked it. I was literally over here like, I couldn't even make eye contact.
Both of you were so sad too. Like just the
Should we
sheer
give
thought
it a
that this
little?
could end. Oh, I saw it in both of your eyes. Tears were ready to come out.
At first, I was really not even close. And I almost laughed and I almost ruined it in the first 5 seconds. And I really locked in. I said, "You were an actor." And I went after my Oscar and I really started.
It wasn't even my idea.
Jeanette says she knows why we're journalists and not actors. I tried. Okay.
Gosh.
I tried.
Oh, you jerks.
We got some of you. No, because some of you were reacting. We had the sad music.
Did we really have sad music?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
John was playing sad music, right? We got Connie. Della was there.
Sorry, everyone.
Linda was like, "You're joking."
I hate April Fool's jokes, too.
No, April Fool's is one of the worst days ever.
You can't use the... Sorry, that was my mom. She was calling me an idiot.
She's allowed to.
Yeah, she was fine.
Of course, Second Cup's not going anywhere, dude. We gotta keep it up.
You know what? Here's the thing. Second Cup is the coolest show that we have on TV right now. Not even on TV. It's on digital. It's the coolest show that we have because it allows you to really interact with us and us with you. And I think that, you know, realistically, when it comes to what's happening in our community, this is a great outlet to really dig in, discuss, and hear voices on all sides of the issue.
On the other hand, we can also just have fun. We can have a good time. It's 8 a.m. You're starting your day, and you know what? Maybe you hit snooze. Maybe you're not having a good day. We're here to make you smile. We're here to make you have something to talk about and get your day on the right foot. And you have a community here, right? The Cubby community is one of the best in the world. And we do things like this. Wish Carol's daughter happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
I love an April birthday. We both have birthdays in April. It's my favorite month of the year. So yeah, we can enjoy, and we're not going anywhere. We're hanging out with the Cuppies to stay.
Okay, so today is actually my aunt's birthday also. My Aunt Dawn is celebrating her birthday. Want to hear something so crazy? So my Aunt Ellie's birthday is September 11th. Great. And then my other aunt is April Fool's.
Ooh.
Can you imagine?
I have a friend who has a 9/11 birthday too.
It's tough.
And
it's tough.
It's difficult. I mean, she was born before 9/11, so
Well,
she had a couple of good ones. But yeah, happy birthday, Cousin Kim. April Fool's Day. I have a couple of friends born on April Fool's Day, and they get that a lot, and they hate being called fools. Obviously.
You're an April Fool. Okay. You know, I do want to switch gears though, and genuinely get to some news here that is actually important here. This is breaking right now, and I want to let you know that this is happening in our community. I just discovered moments ago that Peyton Gendron, the top mass shooter, is now asking for a change of venue. He wants the trial that's supposed to start in September moved from Buffalo to New York City. And why he's doing this is because he says that there is an overwhelming prejudice against him in this community and that he cannot have a fair trial here in Buffalo. This trial's supposed to start in September. And here
Less
we
than
are,
6 months away.
months away from that expected trial start date. And he's saying now, in this court filing that was just filed, that he wants all of this changed out of the area so that he can have a fair and impartial jury selected. Anita, no, he deserves the prejudice. Lori, I wonder why. Jeanette, a fair trial.
Lauren.
Why is this an option?
And you know what? I think that he would be successful downstate? Probably not. But it is something that is tough to hear when you're talking about something. He came to our community, right? Targeted our community. And now he wants to say, oh, well, we could do the trial somewhere else. Because I don't know if the Buffalo people can be impartial.
And so here we are. I mean, next month will mark 3 years since the Top Smash shooting. And when you consider the implications of our community, like where we started as a community prior to this, the day it happened, and then where we've been over the last 3 years, and this trial continues to plague our community in the sense that it's costing us a ton of money to house this guy, to bring him to Western New York. We knew death penalty cases in particular would cost a lot of taxpayer dollars. Yet if they didn't seek the death penalty, his defense attorneys have said that he would have just pleaded guilty to all the charges against him.
Yeah, it's wild to think. Della's saying he killed 10 people, our family member Celestine Cheney, and you talk about all of those neighbors that he killed, that he came to our community and targeted us. Connie says, no way. Well, don't come here and kill people. He shouldn't be able to move it that far away.
And that's what Lauren is saying. Yeah, F that. He chose his fate. Now he can't handle it. Eat glass, she says. Anita, capital punishment. Dorothy, we don't have the mental institutions we need for people like him. And look, I struggle with that because, on one hand, is there an argument for a mental health issue here? I mean, I'm not his lawyer. I'm not going to argue anything for him, but many people have said that he had no mental issues.
But when we think about, what is fair, that's what's being questioned here. Is it fair to be tried where you did the crime? Why not? Why not? You did the crime here. You don't want to be tried here? I mean, you don't want to face trial in Western New York in the community that you targeted?
Well, and here's my question on a bigger level. This is interesting to me because he's already pleaded guilty to the state charges.
Exactly.
We already know he did it. We already know he's guilty. He's already serving a life sentence on these state hate crime charges. But now, because the death penalty is involved here, is he looking for a fair and impartial trial? They are just trying to spare his life at this point.
And they're trying to move it, give themselves more time, buy more time. They're throwing whatever they can. They're throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks, it sounds like.
Noreen, just an evil soul. My mom weighing in here saying, New York City is the most diverse area in the country. Why does he think the outcome will be any different? And then Peter says, this nutcase still wants to make everyone suffer. The families don't deserve this treatment. Anita, kind of cavalierly saying, bring back old Sparky. Connie, no mental issues here. Right. Lauren, this was not a mental issue. This was hate. And frankly, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, she says the people that got targeted did not get fairness, justice, or anything of the sort. He doesn't deserve any of that. R.I.P. to her longtime family friend, Ms. Pearl Young. So many people that we've now spent almost 3 years without, our neighbors who were just going to grocery shop that didn't get fairness that day.
And, we've spoken with so many of these family members. Pearl Young's family, they are beautiful. They are so kind and eloquent. And, you have that bond with these people. Garnell Whitfield, who lost his mother, Ruth, 86 years old. She was the matriarch of their family. And she had just visited her husband, who is in a nursing home, going to buy seeds for flowers. You hear these stories and how this man, 18 years old, traveled from Conklin, New York, outside of Binghamton, to Buffalo just to target the most densely populated Black community in New York.
And now he's asking to be moved to New York City because he says it would not be fair if this trial happened here in Buffalo.
Barbara says, when did we start coddling criminals? It's ridiculous. Anita says, hundreds of thousands of dollars being wasted on him versus the cost of one bullet to a head. You know, and I struggle with that too because
It's all tough. It's all tough. I mean, that's when we get into the legal system and you have a situation where he has pleaded guilty and he's going to spend the rest of his life in jail. Then you have a whole nother system talking about the death penalty.
Right.
It's hard to wrap your mind around it and, you know, keep it black and white, I guess. But
John says death
Either
penalty
way.
is not moral or ethical. I'm not in support of this guy. Put him in solitary confinement and close the door for the rest of his life. I'm sure the other inmates will take care of him. And this is kind of what I was thinking, what you were saying, Anita, an eye for an eye. And I didn't want to like get into that because, you know, like an eye for an eye, he killed 10 people. You know, how do you rationalize that and then say this is what your punishment is, other than the possibility of death?
And does that make us? Will that make us feel better?
Right.
I mean, the healing process, the trauma is always going to be there.
Right.
What he did to this community is always going to be there. At this point, I just don't think I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want
Right.
to deal with him anymore. I want it to be over and done with.
And David says you can thank New York State's governor for that. So this has nothing to do, in this instance, with Governor Hochul.
Right.
In terms of, you know, and I want to make sure that we're very clear here because I think a lot of people are very confused about the legality, the red tape, and, you know, the process. So I want to make sure that you understand the process, David, because in this case, this really has nothing to do with Governor Hochul. This is all to do with the federal case.
The state case is over. This is all the federal case.
And so in this instance, the federal case is still on the table. He faces hate crime charges in addition to facing the death penalty. So everything that happened in New York State that he's already pleaded guilty to and is already serving his life sentence in prison is now being taken to a higher level, a higher court, which is now going over the same thing with more evidence to determine if he will face the possibility of being killed for what he did. And we already know he did it. So this is now, and here's the most interesting part about this, I think. He's trying to say that having the death penalty given to him as an option or having the death penalty put in place against him as the possibility of being sentenced to death, he's using race as an issue.
Yep. His team has said that they used the word arbitrary, which was so
Right.
interesting to see. And that came out, 2 weeks ago?
Mhm. Right before I left, they said it was arbitrary, number one. And number two, they said that because President Biden let all of the Black and Hispanic death row inmates off, you know, essentially giving them life in prison instead of giving them the death penalty. In doing so, he left all the white guys on death row.
And now here we stand. It's
And this guy killed 10 people, 10 Black people.
Right. Paul is speaking up here saying, our system is in place to ensure a fair trial no matter what you're accused of doing. It is not a system where you pick and choose who gets a fair trial. And let's be honest, he's not asking for a new venue. His lawyers are doing that because it's their job. His team has to do whatever they can. It's
Sure.
their job. I think that's a fair point. They're going to try to do that. It's not the first time that's ever happened. People
Right.
always try to get cases moved. It's not out of the ordinary, but obviously I think it's going to raise a couple of eyebrows and, you know, for our community and people who have felt that trauma, it's not going to sit well with us.
No. Robin, wow, thank you. Didn't realize it was going this far. Yeah, this is a huge deal. This is a high-profile case that is genuinely one for the record books, and the fact that they are seeking the death penalty against him and now have to go through with a trial to try and figure out if he will get life or death.
And we have to keep talking about it, and we have to keep bringing this up because, you know, no one wants to hear that name. No one wants to talk about him, but we have to because it is such a big case and it is such a big deal. And what happened to our community can't be ignored. And we have to keep talking about the implications. Here we are coming up on 3 years next month. And of course, we're going to keep talking about it and following this case because this is like a bombshell case. Once
Mhm.
we get to that trial, wherever it is, I mean, this is going to be on national news.
Right.
People are going to be talking about this for months on end.
Well, because it also has implications when it comes to social media and control over content. We know he live streamed everything that he did. He fired 60 shots. He killed 10 black people, shot and hurt 3 others, and then apologized to the white guy that he shot by accident in the leg. All of this broadcast in 2 minutes and 38 seconds, thanks to a GoPro that was strapped onto his helmet and a live stream.
Not to mention the word he had written on the gun.
Right. And you know what? I will never, ever forget when I was there and talking to that one woman who had just seen the video. And in that moment, you know, we had heard reports of a video, and I don't know, you were there also. Actually, I don't know if you were there for this
You were
point.
there, and I was still
Right.
in the
In the
studio. But eventually, once I got to the press conference, is when they confirmed it was a hate crime.
So we had, when I was on the ground talking to so many different people, you know, heard reports of, okay, there was a video. Okay, it was live streamed. This is what he was wearing. This is what he had written on the gun.
You see like screenshots of the video of the
Yeah.
stream.
And when I was there talking to one woman in particular, and we have it someplace from that feed that, you know, 3 years ago,
I still have it on my laptop.
she mentioned specifically what was written on the gun. And, you know, like, it caught me off guard because she literally
She said
hard-R'd it.
She said it on TV.
Yeah.
But, you know, we were at such a raw and emotional moment. And that is what he wrote on the gun. And normally when you have these situations, or it may or may not be a hate crime, you hear from political figures and authority figures, okay, we're not sure, we're going to investigate if it was a hate crime. They did not take
didn't
more than a
flinch.
couple of minutes. They said this is a hate crime. And that's how I knew how serious it was and how much hatred was involved when even politicians were ready to be like, oh, this was an act of hate.
And, you know, and so my point is here that it caught me off guard when she said that. And she literally said the N-word on TV. And it was at that moment, I think, that we realized as a community how important it is to talk about race relations, segregation, redlining, all of the implications and all of the root cause issues that led to this moment in Buffalo.
Systemic racism. You talk about the East Side and the 33 and the role that plays and
Right.
how we got to this point. And we've done some of the work, right? We've gotten there. We've had some of these conversations, and we had a lot of them in the days and weeks that followed. But even 3 years later, we still have to keep talking about it.
Katie says it should not be moved. It's absolutely ridiculous. People in Buffalo need to see this through till the end. So many people, or so maybe people, can start to heal. And, you know, I want to point out that this is just emotion. This now has to be litigated, and a judge will ultimately rule whether it will be moved to New York City or if it stays in Buffalo. If and when it is decided that this will stay in Buffalo, you'll hear about it. And even if it is moved to New York City, there's no way that you won't have access to what happens inside the courtroom, because you better believe that we will all be there. Anita, at kind of putting the period at the end of the sentence here, it's 2025. Racism shouldn't even be a thing. It should just be history. And so here we are talking about our own history. And, you know, you could see the emotion that it kind of brings up. And it really does open up a wound again. It's
Oh my gosh,
trauma.
yeah. The hairs raise. It like brings tears to your eyes. And, like when I like mentally picture, you know, me being here and going back to you and the entire moments and talking to the people who were in the grocery store, even talking to the mayor at the time, and he was shaken up to see like, you know, bodies outside of a grocery store.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that can keep you up at night still 3 years later.
Connie wondering what judge will decide. One from Buffalo. Yeah, it's in the Western District of New York, the federal courthouse here in downtown Buffalo, where all of the motions and hearings, I mean, there are over 300 filings in this one case alone. I mean, that averages out to what, about 100 each year? So that judge will decide if there will be a change of venue. And I mean, I don't want to speculate what the judge will say, but, you know, the judge has been pretty conservative here in rulings. So I would not be surprised if this is not moved. Though,
Anything can happen.
Exactly. You never say never. Okay. We'll lighten the mood here a little bit.
We'll switch gears.
You want to talk about the tush push?
Let's talk about tushies on a Tuesday morning. We know that the Bills were big on one play, especially last season. And there are two reasons why the tush push works for the Bills. They have a wonderful, very large offensive line, and they have a wonderful, very large, 6'5", 240-pound quarterback, the MVP, Josh Allen. So when it comes down to short yardage situations, all they have to do is throw all the big guys in front, push the other big guy into the end zone or over the yard line so he can get the first down, and then that's it. Super simple. It was popularized by the Eagles, like maybe 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, with
they
Jason
started
Kelce,
doing
right?
it with Jason Kelce and Jalen Hurts. But immediately when they started doing it, when they started running this play, people were like, I don't know if we do this. Like, is this good? Because not every team can do it, right? If you have a smaller quarterback, if you have a smaller offensive line, it's a little tougher to do the tush push. You really have to have the right personnel to get the job done. So other teams in the NFL were like, I don't know, let's get rid of this rule. And that was initially like, it's not really fair because not every team can do it. But now, Sean McDermott, of all people,
I know,
the coach who, in theory, let our team run that play, is now speaking up against the play. They have their big meetings in Palm Springs, Florida, where they talk about all the rules and the things they want to get changed. And he's saying we should get rid of the tush push.
Okay, so this is kind of his point, and Marguerite is making the point for us. She's concerned that Josh will get hurt when they do that, and that's what you were kind of suggesting this morning also when you were talking about this on TV, when, you've got this kind of guy, this Josh Allen, who we, hold up on a pedestal.
Our prize, our young prince.
Rushing into the crowd, essentially.
Head first.
Right. Trying to get him over the line, but he could get hurt really badly.
So the other team always jumps right at them, right? They put full force, they dive head first. And let's say they dive head first into Josh while Josh is diving head first and being pushed. I can just imagine that collision. It would be awful. And then you got, the big guys, the offensive linemen are just throwing their body on the line, and they always are, but it's a lot of head first movement. And that was Sean McDermott's point. The safety of the players is the top priority. So should we ban this move? Should we ban the tush push? And there are 32 teams in the NFL. They would only need 24 votes to be able to ban it.
McDermott was passionate about this, which, frankly is speaks volumes to me because he's not passionate about anything when he talks. You know what I mean? Like he's just
usually
so
very
flat.
curt. He's very curt. He's very to the point. He kind of gets straight to it, but he was, he was expanding on these points and he was pontificating and
he had a lot to say.
Putting a lot of personality out there about the tush push. When you bring up tushes,
he doesn't want him touched. Anita says, honestly, Josh could get hurt doing anything.
it's a good point.
Julie says, I have a fake Josh Allen trying to chat with me. Sounds like that's a scam. Connie, he did hurt his hand last season.
I don't think he hurt his hand doing the tush push, and you're right. He is always in harm's way, right? It's football. It's a contact sport. That's why they wear the gear.
Right.
But the argument is that it could lead to something more dangerous. My dad says the sneak will always be allowed. The difference is aiding the runner from the rear.
Okay.
So a QB sneak has been a thing forever. So the quarterback can take the ball, dive head first, go straight in. But the issue is they usually take the fullback, one of the running backs, and push. And that situation is what's in question.
So the forward momentum is the problem.
Right. So if I push you into the other guys,
That's gonna
not
hurt.
But if you do it yourself, you could still go.
Peter says, no, don't get rid of the tush push. Yes, we are talking about the NFL. Anita votes for the tush push. And then Della says it's better than any player jumping over everyone.
And Josh loves to do that too.
Yeah. But, they also dive over the crowd too sometimes, which I think is also kind of dangerous.
That's dangerous too. But I mean, I get it's a more guaranteed, it's a straight shot with the tush push. If the dive, you don't know what's going to happen. But the sneak, who knows? But if you're being pushed from behind, I mean, it's a sheer matter of willpower of who is stronger, the defense or the offense, who's got more force behind them.
My mom says it shouldn't be banned, but they shouldn't run it every single time they're near the end zone. Yeah, we love the tush push in Buffalo. Eric, good morning to you, Eric. We are so glad you're with us and so glad
Thanks for watching.
that we can put a smile on your face. We know you're laughing right along with us, and we are honestly, Eric, so grateful to hear your voice. We love sharing voices on all sides. So, Eric, please feel free to weigh in. We'd love to hear from you today, tomorrow.
Any day of the week, Eric.
We're on every morning at 8 o'clock here, Facebook Live in our WKBW, Eric, WKBW app, Eric. So, by all means, is that another woman? Is that a woman with you in the picture? Oh, I hope she's watching too. Maybe take off your sunglasses next time you post a Facebook picture.
Let's talk more. We can continue to be hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love being funny. That is one of my favorite things to do. Is just to make people
being hilarious.
Yeah.
Being a fool on April Fool's Day.
Eric. Oh, Eric.
Everyone weighing in on the tush push here. There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
And today we're dealing with Eric. He's coming to rain on our parade, and little does he know, Mother Nature has no plans to stop.
Thanks for being here with us.
Why did they stop the 4:30 show? I'm not really sure. But hey, we still got you on Second Cup, so make sure you're sticking with us. Anita, some of our players are just more gifted in that tush than others.
You think the tush impacts the tush push?
Maybe if you got a lot of cushion back there, you got a little junk in the trunk.
A little wagon you're dragging?
Oh, okay. A little wagon you're dragging. Yeah, I like that. I wasn't sure what you were actually talking about there.
Yeah,
I like that. A little wagon you're dragging. Little does he know, we don't care. Exactly. Bye, Eric. See ya never. Bye-bye. Also, real quick before we go, there's a Western New Yorker right now in Thailand who is visiting her son, and she was there for the earthquake in, is it Myanmar or Myanmar?
Myanmar.
Myanmar, okay. And listen to what she had to say about family, and I thought this was really important. Maybe this is a great note to leave you on. Listen.
The damage and the devastation in Myanmar, it's just like, I mean, and it's still, they're trying to pull people out of the wreckage, and how lucky we are, and it's interesting because I took this trip right now to Thailand because I had been working out in California, and while I was there, one of my dear friends went into stage 4 hospice. And I thought, I'm not going to wait another minute. I'm going to go see my son in Bangkok. And then it was the same message all over again with the earthquake of like, wow, things can change in an instant. Go see your loved ones and your family. Don't ever put it off. So it was like a double message of that.
It was really powerful. You never know what can happen. Anything can change in a moment's notice. And she took the trip to go see her friend who's in stage 4 hospice care. And she wasn't going to wait to go see that person because they mean the world to her. And, in doing so, she went to go see her son. And this kind of put things into perspective for her, seeing this earthquake.
Life gives you those moments of perspective where, there's maybe a near miss or something happens, or maybe there's a tragedy that almost touches you when you're like, you know what? Let me call that loved one today. Let me hug that loved one today. Let me go make that trip. Let's do that. Bangkok is a far trip. Maybe she was like, I'm not going to go see my son in Bangkok. But she was like, you know what? Life is precious. Life is fragile. She sees her friend going through what are possibly the last moments of a life. And then she goes out to Thailand, which is, close-ish to Myanmar, but not directly near it. But that earthquake was a 7.7 magnitude earthquake, and it was felt for hundreds of miles away. And you could see some of that wreckage there. We know that there were tragedies involved in that, but for her to be in Thailand from Western New York, visiting her son after, 2 really oh my gosh moments in her life. Good gracious.
Got to check on your people, make sure that they're safe, and just give them a hi, how are you? Let them know that you're thinking of them, that you care about them, that you love them, and that you just wanted to say hello. It goes a long way. Thank you so much for being with us on a Tuesday. We appreciate you. Great conversation. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great day.